So we've got less homes hitting the market, but what really is slowing us down is we have even less buyers consuming the market right now. There's less buyers out there consuming these homes, which is causing homes to sit longer, which is in return causing the inventory to build up. So there's a lot of speculation on why is this happening? Why is the housing market crashing? And again, guys, it's not crashing. That's the one thing I want to make very clear. It is stabilizing. It's readjusting. We saw over 40% equity build up in the last 2 years, which was completely unrealistic. A lot of people feel like that was the normal. And again, guys, it wasn't. We were lucky to see 6 to 7% appreciation year over year, which is a normal, healthy market. So now it's going back to stabilization. Housing prices went up a lot, over $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 average in some cities in a short 2-year span, guys. So eventually that was going to plateau. That could not continue to increase at the pace that it was. To put this into perspective, guys, I'm going to use some rough numbers. And again, this is going to vary house by house and take into account property taxes. But I want to show you guys the power of an interest rate change and how that affects the buyers in our current market right now and why the market is doing what it's doing. So as you guys saw, COVID hit, and obviously the economy came to a screeching halt there in March going into April. As you guys saw, everybody panicked. Everybody was staying at home. Nobody was spending. People didn't know what to expect. It basically paused. To push us through that crisis that we were basically going into at that time, the government did what they could do to basically stimulate the economy. They printed a ton of money and dumped it into our economy, and they pushed down some historically low interest rates. We're talking 2.5, 2.6 to 2.8. It's never been that low in history, and it's damn near free money, to be honest with you. You'd be hard pressed to find a time in history where you're ever seeing 2% interest rates on mortgage loans. We saw a ton of people move because with a interest rate that low compared to where they were, people's affordability now went up. Their purchasing power now went up. Even if they didn't get a raise at work, nothing changed. Their purchasing power just went up, over $100,000 to $200,000 more, depending on where they were at from an interest rate standpoint prior to that. So it was the perfect storm to say, okay, it's time to sell my house because I can get some good money for this thing when inventory's low and the rates are really low. So I could actually go buy a house with the ton of equity that I have and the even cheaper interest rate that I have now. It doesn't cost that much more monthly to get a much larger home or maybe a more desirable area. Working off some averages, guys, if you take into account, like I said, about the average sales price across the Phoenix market right now is $550,000. Assuming somebody puts 20% down, that's $110,000, and they take out a mortgage of $440,000 on their home right now. At a 3% interest rate, that's going to give you an average of about $1,850 a month. Now, that does not include property taxes or homeowners insurance or anything like that, but just basis numbers to kind of make this make sense for you guys. Again, $550K purchase price, 20% down, so that's $110,000. They take out a mortgage of about $440K at a 3% interest rate. They're probably looking at about $1,850 a month minus, or not including whatever the property taxes are going to be in homeowners insurance. Now, without changing any of those variables right now, with the rates currently sitting right about 6%, keeping that same price point the same, $550,000, $110,000 down, with a mortgage of $440,000, but at a 6% interest rate, it's now $2,638 versus $1,855. That's it. The only change, guys. So to put things into perspective, right? Interest rates doubling in a 3 to 4 month time frame really put the brakes on our economy. Number one, people at one point they were able to afford $800K might only be able to afford $650. People that were able to afford $650 might be down in the high $400K range, right? So people that were shopping in those higher price points, as price points were going up, that were able to afford that because of a cheaper interest rate to keep their debt to income, at play where they could afford and qualify for a higher house, have now just got brought down. We saw this happen a lot on new builds, by the way. As you guys know, the new build time process was taking a long time. Delay in materials, shortage in labor, all the things were basically taking what used to be about a 6 to 8 month time frame to build a house. We just closed one that took almost 2 years to build. That was just a track home community. So that shows you how long this time frame. These people were in escrow back at the end of 2020, and we were able to just close on their new build home for them. But again, guys, if you look at the interest rate back in, let's say the end of 2020, sitting at a 2.6, 2.7% rate, let's just say they were going into when they went to purchase this new build, they went under contract on that. Now, obviously the rate wasn't locked, but they were given some numbers to work off of and hey, our affordability's here. to now fast forward 2 years later when they just closed on it. And I think their rate was still in the very high fives, low sixes. It's almost double. Their mortgage payment's almost $800 a month more. Now, some people were not able to qualify for that new purchase price. We are actually seeing new builders come back to us now and lower the prices back down because they don't want a lot of these potential buyers to have to cancel on the contract because they can no longer afford them. They are making adjustments towards the market conditions because it doesn't make sense for them to have all these buyers back out and have to go resell these properties as spec homes. Now, financially, it probably just makes more sense for them to lower the purchase price down to align the debt to income ratio back to where it needs to be for that buyer right now. We just had one, like I said, the sales rep called. We didn't even ask for it, which was kind of surprising. I've never had that happen where they said, hey, we're going to knock off another $15,000 off your sales price. So we saw a lot of buyers, though, for a short time period there not qualify for a new build that they were under contract on, again, because rates went up within that 12, 14, 16-month period that their home was being built.